It's a new year and maybe you're searching for a business venture that will increase your earning power. If so, then you're watching the right program. Hi, I'm Adrian Atkinson and this is Jamaica Magazine. Thanks for staying with us throughout last year and joining us for bigger and better things in 2014. Coming up, startup business ideas take center stage in this week's Issues and Answers. Plus, it's the oldest profession and still a viable option for putting money in your pockets. Stay tuned, the show has just begun.
We must keep focused on the gains that we will make along the way, the development goals that we will reach.
Building on the gains made during Jamaica's Jubilee year, the Portia Simpson Miller-led administration made strategic plans to further enhance the island's development agenda in 2013. Catch highlights of the Prime Minister on a mission this Monday, January 6th, right here on this station.
The government introduced the Agri-Parks initiative with an objective of increasing local agricultural production and providing job opportunities. The program is already reaping success. Take a look and be inspired to join the drive for producing more of what we and the rest of the world need. Engaging 8,000 acres of land into full production, putting some 5,000 people to work, and earning an estimated $4.2 billion Jamaican dollars by the end of 2015. That, in a nutshell, is the expected outcome from the 9 agri-parks being built out across the island. The aim is to get the agricultural sector producing superior quality goods in high volumes, which will drive the sector towards sustainable growth.
We're concentrating our efforts on this as a flagship, but it's a holistic approach that we are taking towards bringing down that 900-odd million US import bill and upping our export.
The Agri-Parks project represents a tripartite partnership involving the Agriculture Ministry, farmer investors and the private sector. Over the course of 3 years, ending 2015, intense farming activity will ensue on these 9 specially designed areas. The parks will form an integrated agricultural chain, connecting farmers, buyers, exporters, post-harvesters and marketing officers.
This is an exceptionally excellent project, and it comes at the right time to save the farmers.
The agri-parks are focused on planting import substitutes such as grains for animal feed and selected crops for export, such as ginger, pepper and onions. These and the other crops targeted for production on the agri-parks will be planted in St. Thomas, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Trelawney and Westmoreland. The lands being used are leased by the government at a concessionary rate to selected farmers who must meet certain criteria. Provisions are also being made for others looking to access the lucrative opportunity.
It is expected that ex-sugar workers who were made redundant, they would also have an opportunity to get their little piece.
Farmers who are selected will be exposed to technical advice and must work in accordance with the contract terms. Roughly 5,000 persons are expected to gain employment from the agri-parks. To get the parks running optimally, the government, with assistance from the European Union and the Inter-American Development Bank, is installing infrastructure such as irrigation, drainage and proper road access.
And when we reach a certain stage, we will go further to even help with packing houses and help agro-processors who want to come on board to also help them in putting up their agro-processing facilities.
Plans are also in place to install an abattoir to standardize the processing of meat for export. The overall management of the parks is the responsibility of Agro Investment Corporation, AIC, the investment arm of the Agriculture Ministry. The agency assigns park managers and dedicated extension specialists to each park.
We also have the responsibility to coordinate with other government agencies for the proper execution of the parks.
Of the 9 agro-parks, 3 are currently in operation: Plantain Garden River in St. Thomas, Amity Hall in St. Catherine, and Ebony Park in Clarendon. 120 acres of land have been reserved for Plantain Garden River, of which approximately 50 acres are now under production by 100 farmers. Over in St. Catherine, the production of sorghum is the main activity at Amity Hall, where crops have already been planted on 500 acres. This should increase to 1,500 acres by the end of 2013. Drains have already been cleared and an irrigation system installed to make way for the planting of onion, assorted vegetable and hay. The laying of accessible roads to the 2,000 acres of land allotted to the Amity Hall Park is in its final stage. Meanwhile, the featured crops for Ebony Park in Clarendon: onion, pepper, vegetables and tuber. 200 acres are now in production, with an additional 600 acres by the end of 2013. A trial is also underway at Ebony Park for a mechanized way of growing the mini-set yam. One of the aims is to grow a yam size that is acceptable for export and does not require cutting and treating. The remainder 1,200 acres is expected to be in full operation by 2014. The other 6 agro-parks are expected to come on stream by 2014, and preparations are on in earnest to meet this deadline.
What we envisage is that over the next 3 years, out of these agro-parks, we will be looking at import substitution to the tune of about $80 million US.
And exports are expected to increase by $50 million US over the same period. Already, some $1 billion in earnings has been projected from activities within the 2013-2014 fiscal year from parks that are in commission. Going forward, the agro-parks are expected to include other areas of production such as fruit trees, including ackee and tamarind. Other undertakings include sorrel, callaloo and small ruminants such as sheep and goat. It is the hope of the government that the agro-parks model will be replicated among private farmers.
These agro-parks, we want to make them models, because it just doesn't have to be a situation where the government is making these things happen.
Agro-parks, modernizing Jamaica's agricultural sector, contributing to reducing the island's almost $1 billion US food import bill while increasing exports and creating jobs.
I needed help to expand my business, but the banks only wanted to be up in my business. The high interest rates were killing my business, and they're never really business with my business.
At the Exim Bank, we have your business needs covered. Our application process is easy, and we provide loans at competitive rates for the productive sector. From renewable energy projects and working capital to plant upgrades or expansion and export financing. Come in and talk to us today. The Exim Bank. On the road to success, you are going to want us in your business.
Funding is one of the biggest challenges for new businesses. But did you know there are a number of government-owned entities that provide loans to private companies? This week on Issues and Answers, we invited the CEO of one of those entities to provide some insight as to how entrepreneurs can access funding. It begins now with host Ian Boyne.
Thanks for joining us for Issues and Answers. I'm Ian Boyne. Today we talk micro business, small business, how you can get help, how you can start in business to do something of your own. We have Mr. Seswin Hamilton, who is CEO of Self Start Fund. Many of you have heard about the Self-Start Fund. Well, it is going through a restructuring now. And Mr. Hamilton will explain to us the elements of this restructuring, as well as how Self-Start works in your interest. We thank you for your company. Good to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Always good to chat with you.
Yes, very good.
Self-Start is going through a restructuring, rebranding.
Yes.
Tell us about this. Why was there this need, and what are the elements of the restructuring?
Okay, Self-Start Fund been around for 30 years.
30 years.
And over that period, Self-Start had done quite a bit of what they were supposed to have done.
Yes.
But as the economy changed and as the number of AFIs are approved financial institutions increase, because at the time when Self-Start was initially started, they were really about the only micro and small lender.
Yes, at that time.
Officially.
Yes.
But since that time, we have had a growth up to about 140 entities lending money.
To small business.
To small business. So a lot of them are doing more what Self-Start was doing more efficiently than Self-Start is doing. But on the other hand, Self-Start has to look at itself in terms of what it should be doing now, especially that the government has put out a growth agenda and has put out, the PNP has put out this manifesto and the Ministry of Industry, that is really the ministry under which Self-Start is a part of, has put out a MSME policy, that is the micro and small business policy. In that policy, they have set out exactly how they want small businesses to operate in keeping with the growth agenda and in keeping with the large initiative that the ministry is carrying on, the logistic hub. The logistic hub will need a lot of players, and the small and medium-sized micro business is one of the main players. In fact, it was interesting that somebody said that Jamaica is 90% small and micro business.
Informal business, yes, small.
And so the government had to focus, and not only just focus on them, but when you start funding them, you have to repurpose the funding to get the effect that you want to get when you are trying to prepare people for this big opportunity.
So what you're saying, Mr. Hamilton, is that rather than just giving people money to sell other people's goods, you want to direct people through policy and through initiatives to produce more, to use our local products, and especially with these logistics hub. Tremendous opportunities will be opened up for Jamaican production. So you want to interest small and micro business people into Jamaican production.
Right. It's interesting that when you go abroad, you might hear that you see people from Asia selling products and call it Jamaican. And we have the same products here, and we're not exporting it to the market that is obviously buying it from the Asians. We're not developing those many things that we have in our economy. Take fruits. And take dried fruits, fruit juices, all those exotics that we have, we should be exporting it. Many things we have around that we need to culture and develop our people's mind, that they will use these products and process them to final products and market them.
Would Self-Start, therefore, as a means of incentivizing production, give a lower interest rate for loans, for production, vis-a-vis trade?
Well, we have been doing that. Let me tell you, Self-Start Fund is given the lowest interest rate right now in the business.
The lowest?
Lowest.
You can say that?
Yes, because I can tell you that Self-Start is given loans for production. At 10%.
That's the lowest anywhere in the market?
Yes, because you know the other side of it, 50 and 60%.
Yes.
For trading
That's
and
a big
consumer
difference.
goods.
Yes.
Now, Self-Start is also having its upper interest rate at 23%.
Okay.
So 23% down to 10%.
10 to
So that is what, and 10% for making production, making widgets.
Okay, 23%.
And 23% for anything else
selling here.
in business, selling consumer goods, and so on and so on. We don't give loans for people to buy consumer goods. You have to be a business person, a small business. So in other words, so we don't give you money to just go and buy a TV and fridge.
No.
From
it's a
anywhere.
do business.
That is doing business.
Yes.
Entity.
It's a start.
Right.
When you come back, we wanted to look at some of the kinds of businesses that Self-Start could fund, and for you to explore whether this is an institution that you probably should check out as you think about business in the new year. We're speaking to the CEO of the Self-Start Fund, Mr. Sesvin Hamilton. We take a break.
No, son. A verb is an action word.
Parents need to become more involved in their children's education.
Parents are the first and in many cases the most important teachers.
Read with your children. Review their schoolwork. Visit their school.
Tapping and rapping and slapping, I said.
Nice. High five. Woo! A good education will never decay.
Welcome back. The Self-Start Fund is one of those institutions, one of the mechanisms which help small business people, micro business people, and has been doing so for the last 30 years. The CEO of the organization, Mr. Sesvin Hamilton, is with us. What's your rationale, Mr. Hamilton, of loans for production vis-a-vis loans for trade?
Unfortunately, it is very, very biased
towards
the trading.
That's easy to get
we
into.
do have about a 30% to 70% split. And
what you want to bring it
we really want to move it up to 50-50, and then later on 70-30 in the reverse order. That's a major job because right in this micro and small business sector, we have the greatest need for skill, knowledge, for understanding and for making copyright and patented items and to develop processes and using technology to develop and be efficient. Now, in our big and overarching process in rebranding, we are now looking, and the ministry have just, the minister just said that up to yesterday, that we want to use those agencies in the ministry, JIPO, Jamaica
Intellectual Property Organization,
JBDC,
Jamaica Business Development Center.
Here, JAMPRO,
yes,
Self-Start and MIDA.
Okay.
To be working in a unit closer, join up government, join up ministry, and join up projects.
I see, yeah.
Because these are the key, entities within the same ministry that deal with micro and small business. Not exclusively, there are others that deal with it, with that as well. But these are the first line. Jamaica Business Development Corporation is designated as the entity that should do the training,
technical training
and development of these small business people. Self-Start does the funding and some control and grooming.
JAMPRO does the promotions.
That's right. JAMPRO promotions, export promotion, Jaipur, Jamaica Intellectual Property, help them to copyright and patent their goods and help them to tell them about intellectual property and all that kind of thing, which are going to be some of the key in this new focus. Because we're not just focusing on the traditional manufacturing. We're talking about animation.
Cultural industries, eh?
That's right. We're talking about creative industries, where a lot of creative products are being developed, new type of economy, new type of a new scene. We're talking about horticulture, we're talking about fisheries, we're talking about ornamental fishing, as the new farm products. We're talking about many other type of new industries, new opportunities for the young people that we are graduating from the various schools and colleges. So we're not dumping the traditional manufacturing things
or whatever. Yes.
All right, but we realize that we are challenged here because you have mass production all over the place. But we have some new niche markets where we can get into production, and Self-Start is certainly focusing on empowering these new entrepreneurs.
Yes. You have worked with small entrepreneurs for a while.
Yes,
at that ministry, certainly.
I was one of them owners of one.
Yes.
Right.
What are some of the key characteristics that the successful small entrepreneur must have?
One of the first things a small entrepreneur who wants to become successful must be, he must understand that he needs to be transparent with some of his processes, especially the one that deals with taxation, statutory requirements, formalization of his business, and so on.
Yes.
He must cultivate some ethical behavior. Because when people work with you, they are only comforted when they are seeing that you're an ethical employer. So they can get some confidence about how they can trust you and your judgment and your handling of some matters that relate to them, employment matters. The second, you must keep records of what you're doing. Because if you're going to borrow money, if you're going to get funding, grant or otherwise, you must show your paperwork.
Yes.
Then you must develop linkages.
Network.
And understand how the business that you're in is done on an international level. Because we are in a global economy.
So you must have
you
knowledge.
See that the global people are coming here with their products.
True. So you must know best
practices.
practices.
You must be able to compete with them neck and neck.
Yes.
Even though you're not able to produce the volume that they produce, your niche market should be high quality. If it's craft, it should be high quality craft.
True.
The other part is that you must be very serious about the amount of time you dedicate to getting things right. That means you have to budget, control, expand, and focus on what you want to do. Because the owner of the entity is setting an example for the staff, the employees.
Right.
If they see that you're a serious person, there's no way they're going to be fooling around.
So you have to lead by example.
You have to lead by example.
Can't be coming at work any time of the day
and do as you like and
take off time.
Put your foot on the desk and do all kind of slappy things and expect them to be doing otherwise.
These are key things that they must have. And how much is Self-Start finally working with for this year?
We have roughly 200 customers on the books.
In terms of money, in terms of your...
Okay. Self-Start has a capital of about, it has moved from 100 million down to 85 million.
Still a lot of money.
But we are also able to borrow funds from the pool of funds that the ministry has, which is about 0.75 billion. That is $750 million Jamaican dollars. And this fund is channeled through MIDA and Sagicor Investment as wholessalers
good
to the retail trade.
So Self-Start is in the rebranding, restructuring process.
Right.
Thank you for telling us about that. CEO of Self-Start Fund, Sesvin Hamilton. We thank you for your company. Next week I'll be back. Until then, Ian Bourne wishing you a pleasant day.
Bamboo growers, companies involved in the manufacturing of bamboo products. Get registered with the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. The BSJ is a member of the International Network for Bamboo and Rattan, and the government of Jamaica wants to develop a standard-led bamboo industry that could lead to job creation and economic growth. Companies, your products could be stamped with the regionally recognized Jamaica-made mark certification and the national certification mark. Get registered and receive quality training and international certification. For more information, call the Bureau's Special Projects Department at 926-3140 or visit the BSJ at 6 Winchester Road, Kingston 10.
The Easter school term officially starts tomorrow, and as the doors open, government will be seeking to improve the management qualities of the country's principals. The Ministry of Education, through the National College for Educational Leadership (NCEL), is providing an effective principals training program. Since November 2012, NCEL has been addressing the issue of weak leadership, identified as a significant factor in underperforming schools. Already, 330 principals and 24 education officers have been trained in various aspects of school operations. Last summer, the college also worked with 30 principals of schools situated in violent communities. In 2014, NCEL will be expanding its reach by including more principals on the program. The college will also be collaborating with the National Mathematics team to train principals and heads of math departments in selected primary and secondary schools. Schools, parents, let's support this effective principals training program as we seek to achieve 100% in literacy and numeracy by 2015 and 2018, respectively.
Join the fight. Quit smoking for life.
Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. Words of author Oscar Wilde, reminding us as 2014 begins the importance of self-confidence. The show has come to a close for today. Join us tomorrow for another informative and entertaining program. Keep sending those emails to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm or send a tweet at JIS News. Click on jis.gov.jm where you may find more news stories and features on all the issues featured in today's magazine. Until then, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Walk good.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.